Hello guys and welcome back to UnicoDev. Today we're gonna learn how to make a database to store all of the information you want for your Unity game. And as a database we're gonna actually be using Firebase database. This is the one I used for the application I'm currently developing, Locked. If you wanna check it out, there are gonna be some videos in the description. And yeah, so let's get started. So the reason I'm doing this video is because when I try to implement a database, even if it's not that hard of a task, I had a lot of obstacles and it actually took me a while to do because I did some very silly mistakes. So with this video, I wanted to show you the way, step by step, on how to make an actual database and how to link your Unity application with your database, post and get information from it. So this is what we're gonna do today. So since we're using Firebase, I'm just on the Firebase website. As you can see, I checked, searched Firebase on Google, and this is where I end up. We're gonna go to console, and we're gonna actually create our project. Alright, so once we are in the console, we actually have to add a new project. Firebase does a bunch of stuff. Does authentication, database, even cloud functions. Today we're gonna only be using Firebase database though. Now you can give a name to your project. In my case it's gonna be YouTube project. And this is gonna be the project ID. You can actually edit it to whatever you want, so like YouTube project. But in this case we're gonna just leave it be. Oh my gosh, I messed it up. And then you can do I accept, and you can create the project. Now, I've reached the limit for the projects because I'm crazy. You can only have 8 projects in the free plan, but right now I have a project that I actually don't use, and I'm gonna be using that as a database. But if you're new to the website, you're gonna just be able to click on create a new project. So once you created your project, you're gonna be here. My project is called Guess My Phrase, but don't worry about it, it's just a test project that I created a while back. So what you're gonna do is gonna go to database, and as you can see, this is gonna be our amazing database, and we have to create it. So let's click on create, and now we have to choose if we have to start it in locked mode or test mode. So I always suggest to start it in test mode, so everybody's gonna be able to read and write to your database. But naturally, once you release your game to the public, you always have to, add some security so that nobody, or at least not everyone, can actually access your database for, data security. So we're gonna start in test mode, and then maybe when in another video I'm gonna show you how to implement an authentication system, we're gonna switch to lock mode. But this is not the purpose of this video. This video's only purpose is to actually create a database and actually do a get or a post request to it. So we're gonna set up test security rules, so everybody can read and write to your database. So now that we are here, we're actually gonna switch to real-time database, because this is what we want, and now we're gonna have this useful link right here. So this is just a note I'm adding in post-editing, because I noticed a problem with the database. So I know we initialized the database in test mode, but sometimes Firebase is stubborn and basically doesn't listen to us. So make sure to go to rules and check if the rules are actually true. They both have to be true. Read and write both have to be true. If they are not, you can just write true, be sure to spell it correctly, and true, and do publish. Remember that before publishing the game to the public, you actually have to add some security to the database, as I said. But for now, for testing, these 2 values have to be true, or we are not gonna be able to access the database. So now we are completely done with setting up Firebase. What we need to do is actually open Unity and do everything there, and actually build the code that is actually gonna post to our database, which is also pretty simple. So now we're gonna actually create a new Unity project. If you already have a game, naturally use that, but for the sake of this example, we're gonna create a new project. It's gonna be called YouTube project, and since I don't really need it to be 3D, I'm gonna make it 2D. So we're gonna do create new project. So since this video is not about creating a game, but just storing stuff on a database, we're actually gonna create a little simple game that is not actually a game, if you wanna call it that. Basically, every time you start the game, you're gonna get a random score. And then the user is gonna be able to write his name, and with a button is gonna be able to submit all of that information, so his score and his name, to Firebase. and we're gonna try to make this work. So first of all, let's create a text. This is where the player score is gonna be displayed. So this is the text. As you can see, Unity already created a canvas for us. That's great. Then we're gonna create an input field. This is where the player is gonna be able to type out his name. And then, last but not least, we're gonna create a button. This is gonna be the submit button. So now we have our 3 components that we're gonna need, and we're gonna go to the canvas and change its settings to screen space, camera, and then select our camera and put it right here. So now the canvas is at the same size and anchored to the camera. So we don't need to worry about all of that stuff. So it's easier, you know, to keep track of it. And also, if we play the game, it's gonna already be at the right position with the camera at any resolution, as you can see. Well, it's not gonna work at any resolution right now, but that's not our concern. Our concern is actually making the database. Anyway, we're gonna put these buttons right here. We're gonna actually try to make it kinda pretty. I don't know, I'm not that good in designing, but here in text, we're gonna actually put score column, and here that is gonna be our score, and here in the input field, we're gonna go in placeholder and say player name, or your name. And then in button, we're gonna actually go to the text and type submit. So these are gonna be our 3 components. Alright, so what we're gonna do now is create a game object, an empty game object. So right here, create empty. So this game object is gonna have all of the scripts that make our game work. So basically, I'm gonna just do one script because the game should be pretty simple. I will call it player scores. I don't know, because this is supposed to be just a, you know, score view. You're supposed to already have the score and just submit your name. But, you know, for the sake of the example, we're just gonna make the score randomly generate. So now we have our script, player scores, and as you can see, it's right here. So now we're gonna open it. I'm gonna be using JetBrains Rider to open scripts. You can use whatever you want, from Notepad++ to Visual Studio Code. You know, I just like this one better. Alright, so here we are onto our script. So basically, the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna add a reference to the text. So basically, this text right here. So we can set the score from the code, because as we said, we have to generate it randomly. So public text, score text. And sorry if it lags, it's still compiling. So as you can see, it's gonna say that we don't have the, you know, text library or whatever. We're gonna just import it with Alt-Enter. This. So basically it added this line of code right here, nothing really important, and this is score text. So then we're gonna add 2 variables that are gonna basically be the player score and the player name. So we're gonna do public integer player score and public string player name. So as we said, the score is gonna be randomly generated. So we're gonna basically create an instance of random to create random scores. It's gonna be private random equals new random equals new random to create a new instance of random. And then here we can do that player score equals random.next from 0 to 101. So basically what this is gonna do is gonna generate a random number from 0 to 101. So here it was giving us an error because it was conflicting with another random object. So you have to put system.random right here to make it work. It's just a conflicting issue. So now our score is actually random.next 0 to 101. So it's a number between 0 and 100. So we're gonna make it so our score text, that is actually, you know, the text, this text right here, dot text is gonna be equal to, so it's gonna be equal to our score space, and then we can add the score, which is player score. Sweet, this is working so far. So now we have to add a function that is gonna get executed once the player hits the button. This is gonna be called public void on submit, we can call it. So like this, boom, and right here is gonna basically tweak the input field text, and it's gonna set the player name to the text that's right here. So the text that the user actually typed. So we have to create a reference to our input text. So public input field, and we can call it player name. I don't know, player text or name text would be a better name. And then we are right here, and here we already have the player name variable. So basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna do name text dot text, so we get the input field text, and then we make player name equal to nameText.text on submit. So this variable is gonna be executed by the button. So we're gonna save this code actually. So now we are right here, and we're gonna wait until it compiles, and we're gonna go to the button, and right here where it says onClick list is empty, we're gonna add an item. We're gonna add this game object right here, and now he's still lagging because he's compiling the script, so we're gonna give him some seconds. Alright, he finished. So as you can see, we're gonna put the game object right here, and here in function we're gonna go on to player scores, and we're gonna find our onSubmit function. So once this button gets hit, this function is gonna get executed. So where the player name is gonna be actually player name, and the player score is gonna be this. So these two variables are set, and we are ready to go. OnSubmit is gonna also submit the stuff onto our database. So we can create a new function that is gonna be called post to database, and this is gonna do all of the dirty work to post the stuff onto the database. And this function is gonna be called right here. So far, so good. So how do we post and get data from the database? Well, there are two ways to do it. You can use the Firebase SDK, or you can use the REST API. In this video we're gonna be using the REST API because it just works for every single device, while the Firebase SDK works, or at least is supported, only for mobile. You can manage to make it work for every single version, like for every single device, but you know, the main support is only for mobile and Android. So just to make our tutorial and our app universal, we are gonna actually use the REST API. We can actually delete this function because we're never gonna use it. So how to use the REST API? So to connect to the internet, I actually found a really cool library that makes it do just that really simply. It's called the REST Client Library. So basically we're gonna download this one, and we're basically at the asset store, and we're gonna import it into our project. So as you can see, we're right here, and it's free, so we can just import it, and we can do boom, import. And now the REST client package is into our project. We can easily connect to another service, to another website, and do a post or a GET request. And it's done. That's sweet. So now we can go back here, and now it's as simple as this. We can just do REST client dot post, because we're actually gonna try to post something onto our website, and here we have to put the website or the endpoint URL, and we have it right here. You're gonna have it right here. So just copy this URL and then add .json at the end. Now we still have to import this, so let's go right here, let's do Alt Enter to import it. So as you can see, he added this new line right here. And now we have the link, and then we have to put actually the object we want to add to our database, we want to post to our database. So we actually don't have this one yet. So basically what we have to do is create a class with all of the information about our user. The only information that we need to post is the score of the user and the name of the user. So let's do this right away. To do that, it's extremely simple. We just have to create a new script, and we're gonna call it user. Yes, we can call it that. And as you can see now, it's gonna appear right here. So basically, this user is not gonna have mono behavior, and we have to put it onto the serializable tag. So serializable right here. And this is great, and now we can remove all of these functions because we're not gonna need it. Everything we need right here is a public string that is gonna be the username, and a public int that is gonna be, you guessed it, the user score. And now we need to actually, set these two variables. So in the constructor of the class, it's gonna be a public constructor. In the constructor of the class, we can actually do that the username is equal to player scores dot username. I think it was called player name right here. Yeah, I'm really bad at naming. Player name dot player name. And the user score is gonna be player scores dot player score. And this is giving us an error, so maybe we should make these two fields static, because we're not gonna use multiple of those at the same time. So let's just make this static for the time being. So as you can see now, this is gonna work. So basically, every time we initiate this user class, we are gonna have an object that is gonna be the user, and we're gonna have a username that is gonna be equal to this. and sorry, to this, and a user score that is gonna be equal to this. So now all we have to do is actually initiate our user. So we can do user equals new user. And now you guessed it, this user right here, we can just post it into our database. So user. And this is it. This is actually the code that makes everything work. This is like, it's not really long, I know. It's something really simple. The actual database is just 2 lines. Now, before actually testing and seeing if this works, I have to give a little bit of a disclaimer. I mean, not a disclaimer, a warning for anyone that is using a Linux operating system that is not Ubuntu. Because there is a bug, and this bug actually got me stuck for a long time, that actually doesn't make web requests work on this operating system. But there is a really easy fix to this bug. You basically just have to put a command in the terminal, and I'm gonna show you right now. So if you are on Linux and you are encountering this problem, just go on terminal, just open a terminal, and run this command right here. Boom, this one, and this is gonna fix your problem. What it does is gonna basically create a link to a certain folder, so basically Unit is gonna find a web certificate or something, because without it, Unity is not going to be able to connect to the internet, and you're not going to be able to do that much. So it's just this, and then you have to put your password naturally. So that's it, and now let's go back into the video. Alright, before running, we actually have to go onto our game object, and as you can see at the script right here, we have 2, fields that we actually have to fill, yes. So basically the score text, this here, and the name text, the input field. So let's go here, let's take the input field and let's put it here. Oh my gosh, I have a really bad aim today. And the text, yes, this is it. We're gonna put it right here. So now it should work. We're gonna save our project and we're gonna click on play. Alright, so we have a score of 41. I'm so excited, this score is actually pretty good. We're gonna say Nico and we're gonna submit, and let's see if it's gonna actually submit to here. And yes, it worked. Wait, what did it submit? Alright, so it worked. As you can see in our database, now we have this folder with a really peculiar name, and inside of it we have username Nico and user score 41. So this worked, and we can actually modify the values from here, and we can modify the name from here, but we're not gonna do it, okay? We're not mean, okay? We're not gonna, change the scores, because that would be bad. Now, you may say, Nico, what is this abomination of stuff? So if you don't want this abomination of a string to appear randomly, basically what you need to do, instead of making a post request, you can do a put request, and it's basically not gonna make this thing appear. So there is only gonna be username and score. As you can see, we're gonna test it right now. I already loaded it in, I did some testing, and we're gonna actually say Nico the Pro, yes, Nico the Pro. And now if we do submit, and we go right here, as you can see, there is only gonna be username Nico the Pro, user score 79. As you can see, this actually deleted all of the other scores, and we actually don't want that. So perhaps we have to store each player's information in a different place, because else it's gonna just get replaced. So what we need to do is actually here, let's add a plus sign, 2 plus signs, and here, wait, I have to actually escape from this. This is turning into a mess, okay? And here, we can actually put, let's put the username, why not? So username, where is it? How did I call it? It's right here, player name, player name. So basically what this is gonna do is gonna put it into, we could say a subfolder called with the name of the player name. Let's see if this actually works. It should work. So basically what it does, instead of putting it, right here, it's gonna actually put it in a subfolder. So let's try it out. We're gonna call ourselves Nico, and now when we submit, and we go right here, see that it's gonna be Nico, and inside Nico there is gonna be my name and my score. So alright, we reached to do a post request to our database. Well, it's actually a put request, not a post request, but it's the same concept. Now we want to actually retrieve something from our database. So what we need to do, we are gonna actually reuse this input, and we're gonna add a new button. Yeah, it's as simple as that. Let's actually add a new button, and this button we're gonna do Ctrl D to duplicate it, and this button right here is gonna actually not be submit, but actually get score. Let's actually change this, and I'm gonna say get score. So basically what this is gonna do, you're gonna input the name right here, and then it's gonna input the score of the player right here if he finds it. If he doesn't find it, then it's gonna just, you know, tell you error. So we need a new function, and it's gonna be called on get score, I guess. That's not really a good name, but that's okay. On get score, and instead of post to database, we can do retrieve from database. Look at that. So now let's actually create the function retrieve from database. We're gonna still do this, okay, so it's the exact same thing, but instead of put, we're gonna actually get some information. So we don't need this anymore, because we don't need to post anything. So now it's gonna get some information from the player name, and the player name is gonna be the one right here, so the one written right here, so this is good. But we are gonna retrieve an object. Right now we are just retrieving a string, a JSON. We actually want to retrieve the user object. So we're gonna retrieve a user, like this. Now we actually want to retrieve this user. So what we're gonna do, we actually have to say, give me back the user when this code actually gets executed and when I get the response. So we're gonna do .then, and then we're gonna do response, and then we're gonna do this funny little arrow, and then this. So basically what this is gonna do is gonna say, once you get the response, give it to me and I can do whatever I want with it right here. So this code that I'm gonna type right here is gonna only execute once we get the response back. And the response is gonna be a user object, and it's gonna be right here. So basically what we're gonna do, we're gonna just return the response. So this is not gonna be a void function, it's gonna be a user, it's gonna be returning a user. And so this one right here, where is it? Retrieve from database, this will return a user. So from here we can actually get the score, I guess. User score, look at that. So we can get the score, and we can just make it so the name text, yes, not the name text, the score text, yes, is gonna be equal to this. Now this is giving us an error because the score is actually an integer, while the score text, .text, is a string. But we can just do dot to string, and it's gonna fix the error, because the integer is gonna be converted to a string. So in theory, just in theory, this code should work. And oh, there is an error right here in player scores. Where is the error? I cannot find it, I cannot see it. So if it actually can't retrieve the information for some weird reason, we're gonna just for now return null. I don't know if this is gonna actually give it. Okay, it's gonna let it pass. Don't do this in your code. Throw some exception right here. Say to the user, something weird is happening, I cannot connect to the database. Don't just return null, because then the code is gonna go into an exception. But because right now I'm, we just wanna see if this works, I'm gonna put it to null, just so this guy doesn't give me any problems. But don't do this in your actual code, because as you can see, it's even giving me exceptions. But right now we're gonna test it out, so let's go into our database. We have hello and Nico. Let's go to hello, and let's click on get score. And is he gonna retrieve my score? I don't think he's retrieving my score. Oh yeah, I'm dumb, I always forget. I actually didn't link the button to the code. So as you can see, we have to go to the button right here, and we have to actually make it so it doesn't do on submit, but it actually goes to on get score. So now we can save it again and play it. And hopefully this is the right time. Hopefully this time it actually works. So we're gonna go, we're gonna say score, no, hello, and we're gonna get the score. And so the reason why this code actually doesn't work is for a really simple reason. As you can see, to get from my computer to the database, it actually takes a while. It's just fractions of seconds, but it's still time. So basically what this function does, it ignores this bit and just returns null. So this thing is null, the user score is null, and it gives me an exception. And that's unacceptable. We cannot have that happen. We can actually work around this issue by making this a void, so not return anything, and then making the response equal to a user. So basically we can do a new user right here. Maybe we can just create a user right here, right on top. So right here. And so this is gonna be our main user, so the user is gonna be equal to the response that we're gonna get. And only when this is set, then there is gonna be a new function that is gonna actually update the score. So we're gonna do a private void update score, and as you can see right here, so basically what this is gonna do is gonna do score text, player score, or score text, yes, dot text, equals the user that we set to the response, remember? The user dot the score, so the user score. So now, naturally to string, because it's still an int. And here, this function is gonna get called from here, so update score. So now, in theory, this should work around the issue, because the function actually doesn't return anything, and this function only gets executed once this one is done. So basically it does the exact same thing, but just in a different way, so you know that we don't get into the issue, and this function actually gets executed at the right time. Now I have no idea if this actually is gonna fix the issue or not, and I guess he fixed it, but we still have a little bit of a bug. This is actually a silly one. The score text is not gonna be, we don't have to set it to this, but we actually have to set it to something else. We have to set it to score plus this, or you know, it's just gonna retrieve the score without anything else. But other than that, the application is done, and everything works. And now if we retrieve the score of Nico, and we do get score, okay, is it always 35? No, it's 65. Oh, I see where the issue is. It's actually pretty dumb. Okay, first of all, we don't need this anymore, the toString. Second of all, this doesn't actually have to be player name, but it actually has to be, yes, name text. Because it was taking the player name from the user, but you know, he actually has to take it from the input field. And is this working? For a second I see some red right here. That is not supposed to happen. So yeah, now it should actually work. Guys, I know I said it like 2,000 times, but you know, that's how it goes with coding. Alright, so this is the extreme, the last test. We are gonna do... Okay, what name should we do? Nico, __, okay, with a score of 42, okay? And we have it. It's in our database. Nico, with a score of 42. And then, we are gonna retrieve the score of Nico, and we're gonna get the score. And it's gonna be a score of 65. It works! This is how to create a database and how to store your data onto a database. We did a get and a post request. All of the code is gonna be linked in the description. Now, naturally, this URL is not gonna work because I'm gonna make it private by the time this video, you know, gets published. So if you wanna try to do something, you know, for yourself, just change this URL to the one that's right here in your project. And that's it. I hope this tutorial actually made you learn something and you know, it was entertaining to watch. I tried my best. This is my first tutorial I ever done on Unity. And you know, if you want to see more of this kind of content, leave a like and leave a comment and tell me if you know, you like this or any suggestions about this. But anyways, thank you ever so much for watching this video. It was pretty exciting and amazing to make. And yeah, I'm gonna see you guys next time. See ya!